Hello everyone, my name is John, I'm the Geeky Fanboy, and it is finally time to talk about Doctor Who again. It's been such a long time. So, the first episode of Series 13 aired, or as it's called, Flux. It aired the Halloween apocalypse, appropriately enough, it aired on Halloween. And I just watched it, and of course I want to talk about it. Like I said, I just finished watching the episode a couple of minutes ago, which means this whole review is probably gonna be super unstructured and rambly because I just want to get my thoughts out there. But I think by now you're used to this from me, so there you go. Which also brings me to the fact that spoilers, because it's difficult, I think, to talk about this episode in a spoiler-free way. If you want my short opinion on it, interesting. A lot of stuff is going on, which makes it kind of confusing in some places. I like the new companion, and it doesn't feel like an opening episode. It feels like, wow, shit is already going down, and I have no idea where this is going. So those are my thoughts in a nutshell, spoiler-free, which means I'm now going to jump straight into spoilers, so here is your warning in case you haven't seen the episode yet. Okay, let's do this. Boy, where do we start? There's so much happening in this episode. Too much, maybe? I don't know. We'll see as I kind of try to get through this. So, let's start off with, we have the Doctor and Yaz are now traveling on their own since our previous companions from the trio left. Now we are only left with Yaz, and I think Yaz gets some good, I don't know if you can call it a development, but I think Yaz gets some nice elements added to her character, which I think are very much needed, since she's now been traveling with the Doctor on her own for a while now, it seems. And she's adjusted to the situation perfectly, and she's picked up a lot of stuff from the Doctor, and I love that you can see that she's gotten used to stuff. She can help fly the TARDIS, she knows what to do, she more or less immediately understands what the Doctor wants from her. If she's given a task, she's even able to like deactivate traps and stuff like that, or knows how to handle certain devices because the Doctor's been teaching her, apparently. I like that. Yaz really is in the game now. She knows what she knows what she's supposed to do. Well, most of the time she knows what she's supposed to do. She's still sometimes put off by the Doctor, which I like, because that you just need that to be in there, because sometimes the Doctor says something, she's like, no, that did not make any sense at all. Which I like. We also get a bit of, there's some beef going on between the two, since I would assume this is maybe also due to what we find out at the end of the last series with the whole the timeless child and everything. The Doctor, which we've seen a lot of in Jodie Whittaker's version of the Doctor, can be very guarded and doesn't want to like let anyone in, especially if she's like emotionally vulnerable, was thinking about a lot of stuff. And we see that coming back again in at least in this episode, where Yaz is like, you've been acting weird and you're not telling me stuff. I thought we were friends. Why won't you let me in? So we still have this kind of thing going on with the two of them having become very close, but the Doctor is still very much guarded when it comes to certain things where she isn't prepared to even tell Yaz about it. And I think that's great, because it shows that the Doctor still has some secrets, and it gives us an opportunity to see that the friendship is a good one, but it's not perfect, and there are even things even Yaz will not know about. So I think Yaz and the Doctor are doing great in this. The Doctor is, as always, wonderfully irritating to watch, just off the cuff, a lot of stuff going on here and there. She's basically doing the same thing she's been doing for the past couple of episodes and series, which is fine. I still very much enjoy Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. And again, as I already mentioned, I enjoy that in her version, her incarnation, that she is very bubbly and talkative up front, but has a lot of like quiet anger and darkness, like sort of brewing inside of her. And I like that. I hope that is explored more. There's already something I enjoyed in the previous series when she's confronted with, the timeless child, etc., and the master. So I like that part of Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, and I hope that's also getting more explored in this series, especially since, as we find out during the latter half of the episode, that the Doctor is somehow connected to the swarm, to the big baddie of the episode. I'm going to talk about in a second, but I like that seems to be like a continuation of the timeless child storyline, because the baddie is like, oh, we've battled many times in the past and now we're doing it again. Doctor is like, I have no idea who you are, I don't remember you. So I'm assuming this is like some big antagonist from a previous incarnation, like pre-first Doctor, that she doesn't remember because her mind got completely scrambled and deleted, as per the timeless child plan, as we've seen in previous episodes. So I'm assuming that's what's going on here, and I hope that is what's going on, because I don't want them to just throw away the timeless child plotline like that. Like, it gives us an excuse to like reincarnate the Doctor over and over and over again. But I'm digging that they're, at least that's what I'm assuming, that they're going into, okay, there's a past even the Doctor herself doesn't remember. Like, this is like a whole new history of the Doctor and her history that we don't know about, that she doesn't even know about. And this is where, for example, the big bad guy of this series comes in. So I'm liking it. I'm hoping we're getting like a lot of old history and antagonism stuff in regards to like the Doctor and her past, and especially in regards to the bad guy. So I like what they're doing here, and I hope they're running down this path with like missing memories and histories. I like it. We're talking about the swarm already. Wow, he just disintegrating people left and right. Just wow, it's bad. It's really bad. But I think that's perfect because it seems intimidating enough what this guy can do, and I would assume that he is somehow, or his sister, as we find out later that he also has a sister, has this disintegrating power, which is very similar to what the Flux does. So the Flux is basically like, kind of like, I don't want to say like Galactus and just eating all of the planets and completely disintegrating them, which look absolutely terrifying. That's just, wow. Just like all of the planets, all of like the solar systems just get sucked in, get completely disintegrated, and everyone's dead like that. That is terrifying, especially when you know that this thing is heading towards Earth. It's not good. But what the Flux does is, I think, at least visually, very similar to what the Swarm does, so I'm assuming that the two of them are somehow probably connected, that maybe the Flux is like an extension of the Swarm or his powers or whatever, something like that. They're definitely connected. And it is absolutely terrifying. And the episode ends right on it with the Flux about to hit Earth, which is presumably protected by the alien ships, but the TARDIS isn't able to get through and is completely eaten by the Flux at the end of the episode, which is not great, especially since the TARDIS has been acting up a lot throughout the episode. So, I mean, naturally, the Doc and her companions are not going to die in the next episode. That's probably not going to happen, but it'll be interesting to see how they get out of that one, because the Flux is terrifying. Quick talk here maybe also about the aliens who are protecting the Earth. I'm putting it in quotes because it's dogs. It's dog people. They literally use the phrase men's best friend because they're dogs and they're there to protect the human race. Which is cute. It's a cute idea, even though, animals in giant form being aliens, it's, not the most unique of idea. Not really unique as an idea for an alien, but yeah, there you go. They're kind of having fun with it. And they're fully playing on, at least the first appearance of that dog alien, that they play with the idea that this looks very similar to an Ewok. Like, they even do the whole Star Wars thing, like, these are not the droids you're looking for kind of thing. and it doesn't work. I wonder why it didn't work, by the way. Was it because I don't think at that point the Doctor had not manipulated like the tech yet or anything, right? So I wonder why it didn't work on Dan. So yeah, but yeah, that was kind of funny because they were totally going for that, right? That thing looks like an Ewok, and then the whole not the droids they're looking for thing like it literally does this. So I don't know, not a Star Wars fan, but that's what they were doing. That's what they were going for, right? Uh, so that's the thing that was kind of funny. I'm kind of hoping that the dog aliens stay around, like not like maybe as a main character, but since we sort of have this one guy there now who was assigned to Dan to protect him, that maybe he's going to sort of stick around as like maybe a secondary character who occasionally is able to maybe help out in one way or another, since his species, they are all assigned to like protect the humans on the planet. So I would assume that maybe we stay in contact with the race or with that guy specifically, which would be funny because I can kind of see like this French, no, not really friendship, relationship between him and Dan, the Doctor, and yes, kind of going from antagonism to, which you already kind of see in the episode, to being like, I'm not a bad guy. I'm trying to help the human race. Just let me do my thing. Now maybe this switches to like, okay, we're gonna become allies, which is already kind of happening in this episode, to being maybe they form some kind of friendship, to being like, okay, no, we actually come to care for this guy. He's trying to help us. He's trying to protect the planet along with his race. So I don't know. I would like to see, like, he doesn't have to be in every episode, but I think I would like to see like a little bit of development there to kind of see how that develops, because I could imagine that him and Dan also maybe develop some kind of friendship, because Dan has been assigned to him and Dan is like, I'm not your human, go away, I don't want to hang out with you. Maybe they are able to like form some kind of bond along the way. Like they said, dogs are men's best friends, and maybe that's what's going to happen here. That would be kind of cute. Speaking of Dan, let's talk about the newest addition to the TARDIS crew, Dan, who is absolutely delightful and adorable and looks a lot like Hugh Grant. Is that just me? Am I the only one who thinks the actor looks a bit like Hugh Grant? I don't know. That was just me. First impression, I was like, that looks a bit like Hugh Grant. No, but he is a lovely lad from Liverpool, which is great. I love the whole accent deal he's got going on, his attitude. It's cute. I like it. We're introduced to him at the museum where he acts as a tour guide, and it turns out he's not actually employed there. But he just loves doing it because he loves Liverpool so much and wants to tell people about his hometown, which is cute. Like, you can just see that he really cares about people. You can see him trying to help like the homeless and giving out food to people. And we see later he himself is actually like financially struggling. Like, he has this little flat, but he doesn't really have any like fancy stuff, and he doesn't have any food. Like, one of his friends even says, go and take the soup, you also need the food, and he's like, it's fine, I'm gonna be fine. Those people need the food more than I do. Then he goes home and even like sort of berates himself for not having taken the soup because he's got nothing at home, which becomes even worse when his house later is like, I thought it would get disintegrated, but it's actually just like shrunken down. I don't know if they'll be able to reverse that. Probably not. Also, because that kind of gives him an excuse to just like now he has to hang out in the TARDIS, because where else would he possibly go? But like, first impression, he doesn't do a whole lot. He's mostly just like tag along. He gets abducted by the dog alien and has to be rescued. So we didn't really see him like in action yet, which is understandable. But the first impression, I think, is a good one. He's more easygoing than I thought he would be. Like, not as immediately like antagonistic or surprised by weird stuff that's thrown at him. Like, we see when the dog alien like breaks into his flat, and he just straight up assumes, oh, it's a weird guy in a Halloween costume, which looks odd, but okay, but he just broke into my flat, so that's not cool. So how about you leave my home and take your weird Halloween costume with you and leave me alone? And he just doesn't clock what the hell is actually going on until he gets like stunned in the cube and taken to the dog alien's ship. But I love that whole interaction because he was kind of trying to be real nice about it and just to be like, okay, this is happening. I'm just gonna run with it. I'm gonna be nice about it, even though I don't want this man in my house. But I thought it was cute, and he also saw like a hint of that he's quick on the uptake when he told the dog alien that, okay, you abducted me, but you don't want to kill me. Like you need me alive for some reason. So I like that he was quick on the uptake there and immediately realized that something was going on there, which is good because that's always good when the companions are sort of able to like think for themselves and are able to pick up on stuff without even without the doctor being there. That's good. And sort of the first interactions we see, it's not a whole lot yet in this episode, but like the first couple of interactions we see between like Dan and Yaz and Doctor are good. I think Dan is adjusting quite well given the situation, I think, and he's kind of like they go into the TARDIS doors have been acting real weird. It's just like, it's not the most useful things to have your door in the floor. They're like, yeah, we know. And then he's like, oh, the box is big. Yeah, it's big on the inside. Oh, okay, yeah, I got that. I think a friend of mine had like a police box, and I just love how it's in a weird way. It's kind of plays it down a bit, and it's kind of low key in a way. He's not as surprised by things as you thought he would be, and I like that. And the first impression is that he's very endearing. That he's definitely going to be like a very caring kind of person, someone who's kind of there to look up maybe for the underdog, since that's what we saw him doing, like looking out for the homeless people and stuff like that. Someone who knows that it's not always easy in life. Someone who understands what it means to like go through a rough patch. That sort of character. So I'm expecting him to be like this really compassionate kind of companion who isn't afraid like to get his hands dirty or stuff like that. Who's maybe there to. Like, Yas is a bit more, like, on the practical side, especially at this point, I would argue, when it comes to, like, companions, like, running around, maybe shooting a laser gun, disarming the traps, all that. And I would assume that Dan maybe also does some of that stuff, but he's maybe got to do, like, a lot of the more, I don't know, if, like, the emotional work, that sort of thing, if that makes sense. So I can kind of see him sliding into that sort of companion slot. Which I think is going to be especially interesting once he's built up this relationship with the Doctor, with this version of the Doctor especially, who's very emotionally guarded at times. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two will get on, how quickly they really adjust to one another. I think that's something we're going to see in the next couple of episodes, how Dan like really truly becomes like a member of the TARDIS, since he hasn't really officially been invited yet. He's kind of just like a tag along at this point in the first episode. So it's going to be interesting if there's going to be like some defining kind of moment where the Doctor is like, oh, I like you. I think you should stick around in the TARDIS. I'd like to have you on board. And Dan agrees to doing that. So I guess that's what we're sort of going to see in the second episode. But for now, I think Dan is a lovely addition to the TARDIS crew. Okay, some other stuff that happens in the episode, because a lot of stuff is happening here, and I'm not quite sure if it's too much. So we got this whole stuff with the Doctor. Yes, Dan has a bit of his own thing going on with the dog people. The swarm breaks out, and we see him picking up his sister, who's actually living with some dude in the Arctic circled area, something like that. And they get a warning, and then it's weird, and it turns out she's actually his sister. No idea how if that's going to be explained, what the sister actually, if she has the similar powers, if she's exactly the same, if she is even more powerful, maybe, we don't know. So what else is happening is that there is a lady introduced at a point in time when she already knows the Doctor, but the Doctor doesn't know her yet. So it's after they've decided to find Dan and Yaz and the Doctor on the street, and then this lady comes in and she's like, oh, Doctor, is that you? And she recognizes her But the Doctor very evidently, also Yas doesn't recognize her. And it's very evident that this is some literally a weeping angel scenario where the characters haven't met yet or don't know about each other yet. And I'm saying literally because there's also weeping angels. For some reason, we don't know yet what any of that means. I'm assuming I think this is definitely going to be the case, that this whole series 13, since it's all one storyline they're doing this series, that they're also trying to go for like a non-linear storytelling device here, where we are introduced to characters now already, also storylines are introduced now at this point that we don't even know about yet how they originated or where they're going to go. It's just like at this point in time, the character would already be there, but we don't know yet why. So just like the Doctor, we have not met this person yet, but we will see at a later point in time, a later episode, how this character came to meet the Doctor and then came to that point in the episode. So I'm assuming that's what's going on with the lady. She's, for some reason, being followed by a weeping angel. It's good to see the weeping angels back. I hope they keep popping up throughout the series, maybe as sort of secondary antagonists. And the lady gets zapped into a time we don't know yet. So it'll be interesting to see what this lady will do further down the line, since she seems to be some kind of ally or friend of the Doctor at a future point in time. So I'm assuming the Doctor will give her some kind of task to do, or they will have bonded over something that has happened. And then she mentioned that she's going the long way home, so maybe she's also been waiting to get to that point, that she maybe got displaced in time, maybe by the Weeping Angel, maybe by the Doctor, we don't know, and that she's now back at home in the present day. But we don't know that much about her yet, but I'm pretty sure we'll see what's actually going on with her in a later point in time. There's also the guy in the space station Rose, which has to be some kind of Easter egg hint thingy, right? Just like Rose, you remember Rose, right? I don't think they're gonna do anything more with that, but I thought it was cute that the thing is called Rose. And he actually observes the flux taking in all of the planets at once and just completely eating, disintegrating them. And he's apparently been there for a long, long time, sort of just observing the galaxy or the solar system. Now suddenly the flux is taking over, and he manages to enter an escape pod and flies off. He doesn't die, right? I don't think he dies. I think he just like sort of manages to escape. And I guess we'll see if... I'm assuming he comes across the Doctor at some point, being like, oh, I saw the flux, I saw what it could do, etc. But we didn't see too much of him yet. Guess we'll see how he comes back into the story at a later point in time. Okay, let's talk about that tease at the end there. Classic Sontarans are back, people. And I love it. I love that classic Sontaran design. It's gritty, it's real, it's dirty. It's also kind of ugly, as they themselves admit in a conversation which was kind of weird. But Sontarans are back. And they are preparing for battle. As soon as we saw Sontarans, I was like, they're going to be into this. They're definitely going to be into this. A giant monster that is able to, like, defeat planets at the drop of a hat. Sontarans are going to be all over that. And they are. They are preparing for absolute just carnage across the universe. And we also see that in the teaser for next week's episode, that someone is going to like fight against, I think, an army of Sontarans. We got a hint at that this is going to be like a historical episode. We saw Mary's sequel, so I guess we're going back to like maybe Crimean War, Victorian times, probably something like that. Also, the soldiers kind of looked like British soldiers from that time. So I'm assuming that's sort of the time that we're going to go back to, and we'll see why the Sontarans fight some humans. We'll see if the Sontarans will fight against the swarm, against the flux. I would assume they are all over that shit. And I think that's most of the stuff that is going on in the episode. Like, there is a lot of stuff going on at once. Like I said, I'm assuming a lot of the stuff is told in a non-linear way, that we will get context for a bunch of these scenes in a later episode in regards to how characters got to certain points, how their relationships developed, or where their original relationships even come from that we don't know about. Is there maybe a bit too much going on in that episode? Yeah, maybe. It kind of moves at a fast pace, and you kind of have a bit of trouble like being like, okay, we're there now. Oh, who are these people now? Oh no, we're back with the dog person. Huh? But there are other guys. Oh, and that guy's disintegrating people. But the giant space clown is also disintegrating people. So there's a lot of stuff going on for like I don't know how long the episode is, for a 15-minute episode. I just hope that throughout the series and by the end of the series they can wrap all of this up in a nice, coherent storyline, that if you put the pieces together, it actually makes sense, that how they go from point A to point B to point Z to whatever the hell happened now in this first episode. But I guess it kind of makes sense. You know, it's a time travel show, so it would make sense that not everything always happens in a linear way. We've done that kind of stuff before in Doctor Who. So as long as they are able to pull it off, I'm fine with this, even if it is maybe a tiny bit confusing. But this episode definitely like kicks off immediately, and it definitely has already like really high stakes, especially if I look at the ending of the episode. It doesn't feel, it does have sort of the first episode feeling of a series, but it jumps straight in with like all of the action and what Doctor and Yaz are doing, and with introducing all the aliens and the antagonists, and like this dramatic ending to the episode. It immediately feels like, oh no, we're right in there. This doesn't feel like it's kind of similar to what happened in the previous series when they literally opened the series with "The Master is back." I love that because they immediately just like go all in, so that you can't help but be like, okay, yeah, no, okay, shit's going down. They have my attention. I need to know how this can get better or worse throughout the series. So I'm both slightly confused and very much excited to see what is going to happen in the next few episodes of this series. So this was my review for the first episode of Doctor Who Series 13, Flux. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm definitely curious to see what is going to happen. I'm looking forward to see how Dan integrates himself into the TARDIS crew. It's going to be interesting to see. Have you watched the episode? Do tell me your thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure to give a spoiler warning if you should talk about like any kind of bigger details, but do definitely tell me what you thought about the episode, maybe what some of your theories are as to how the stories and the characters are connected throughout the series. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't done already, and I'll see all of you very soon. Goodbye.